he's the guy. You know what I mean? Like he's been on spotlight since he was 15, and
Hmm.
we know he's 6 foot what 7 or 6 foot 8. He's like 190 to 200 pounds. He's he's a big guy. He could pass the ball. He could shoot the ball. I know his percentages aren't that great,
Yeah,
but you see the type of shots he's making. Like he's shooting from far out,
yeah,
shooting beyond NBA range.
yeah,
So like he reminds me of Trey Young, and like I know that's a very big push, but
yeah,
what I mean by that is like he's not afraid to take the shot and miss it,
yeah.
and he can facilitate and get a bunch of assists to get his team involved. And he's tall enough where
He's
he could
yeah.
guard. He could guard the small forward.
I mean, he has Lonzo Ball potential. Like that's just naturally
Yeah,
one of the
his
comps that's going to
brothers.
come up is Lonzo Ball. Like if he's anywhere
Yeah,
near Lonzo on the defensive end, with what he can do on offense, which is so much better than Lonzo Ball, he
yeah.
can like he could definitely be worthy of being the number one pick. But I think the shooting is a bigger issue than I think you're making it you're making it sound, because
Is
his
Edwards a
form
great
his
shooter
form
though?
is not nearly as bad as Lonzo Ball's was when he was coming in, but it's still
Yeah,
not very conventional. And while he does have range, uh, he doesn't. He's a pretty inefficient shooter, and I just
but
think
yeah,
that. I mean, that doesn't bother me that much. Like I have him at number two, and just
yeah,
like his highlights are insane, man. Like his size, his ball handling, his passing is just ridiculous, and like just his ability to uh, just finish in different ways with floaters and everything. Another thing too is though he's another player who shies away from contact at the rim sometimes, and that
yeah,
is that. But it's whereas with Tyrese Halliburton, that's understandable because he's, like we said, a twig. LaMelo Ball is not, so that is something that, I mean, Jason Tatum struggled with that too coming into the league, and now we saw what happened once he addressed that and improved that. So maybe that'll happen with LaMelo too, because he definitely has the talent and the body to be able to go hard to the rim and finish and get to the line. So I'm
yeah.
not too worried about that. And honestly, the reason I have Edwards number one is because I think in a draft like this where there's not a ton of obvious superstar potential, I think Edwards has the most fixable drawback. Where LaMelo Ball, it's like I said, his odd shooting form. Okongwu, it's his size. You can't change that. Wiseman is just he's very very raw. Killian Hayes only has one hand. Anthony Edwards, literally the only problem with him is his decision making. Like he's athletic, he's got a handle, he's got a jump shot off the dribble, he's got a jump shot off the catch. He can play make, he can run the floor in transition. He is unstoppable going to the rim. And he has the body to be a very good defender. He obviously needs to work on that, like some of these guys, like almost all these guys do. Um,
Yeah,
but he takes, even watching his highlights, like the best of him this season, it's so hard to watch. He'll have like a tiny guy in a switch that he could easily just blow by, or a really slow-footed guy that he could just easily take to the rim, and he'll just hit like attempt like a step back jumper in the mid range early in the clock in transition or something, and that's really ugly. And if he keeps doing that in the league, especially if he ends up on a really bad team, his numbers are going to be very, very bad. But I think if he goes to the right situation and if he gets coached up right, where he is just going to have to play to his strengths, drive to the rim, and don't settle for jumpers early in the clock or on mismatches, I
yeah.
think that he has the easiest path, I think, to being. I don't know if he's going to be like a superstar, but I think he
That
has the most obvious
I see.
potential for it.
Yeah, I see Anthony Edwards as all star. Like that's his max potential.
Yeah, I mean,
Like
yeah,
you could see Lamar winning MVP. I know it's a stretch right now, but if he's really good on the defensive
Melo
end,
Ball,
and he's yeah, I could easily see him
2023
winning
MVP.
MVP. Like
I don't know.
2028
Okay.
probably because
I
Giannis is
mean,
gonna be crazy.
yeah. Okay. I guess that is fair.
Yeah,
I don't know, but I mean, look at Anthony Edwards. He's huge. He's like a truck, and he's 6'5", but he can move so fast. He's quick, explosive. He's got a jump shot. He's got a
he
handle.
can't
Like
get
what?
better.
Wait, sorry. What's that?
And Anthony Edwards can't get better physically.
No, he
LaMelo Ball
can't.
can. Yeah,
Okay. Okay.
LaMelo Ball can. So like we're talking, let's say if LaMelo Ball up to 240 as a 6'8" guy,
Jeez.
that would be
I don't think
insane.
he's getting up to 240. Um,
If he does, he's easily one of the top players in the NBA, and all he has to do
I
is
mean,
add
no,
muscle.
I completely agree with you. I I mean, I'm just splitting hairs between these two guys. I just think that Anthony Edwards, I don't think you can, in a draft like this with a lot of question marks, I don't think you can pass up on his size, athleticism, shot making, ball handling, transition game, but he easily could be a bust. It like I don't know how
I
big
don't
of a
know about
bust.
bust.
Like not
Yeah.
not out of the league bust, but man, his decision making is so bad. Like I said, like even on his highlights, he like a lot of those shots are very 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 bad decisions.
I can see Anthony Edwards being a Lou Williams, where
It could be
he's just a
like
scorer.
he could not be more different than Lou Williams in terms of like the type of player that he is. But and
But what I
don't
mean by that
like
is like
I don't know if
he
he's ever
doesn't
going to be
pass out.
a top 6 shooting guard in the league like Lou Williams is right now. But
Yeah,
I mean, I would agree with you that LaMelo has a higher ceiling,
by
maybe,
far.
but
Yeah.
Edwards I think has the easier path to reaching his ceiling over LaMelo. Like I said, like just that decision making, that's something that's very correctable. And I like
Hmm.
LaMelo. I mean, he's not the worst shooter in the world, I guess, but his efficiency numbers in Australia were not very pretty, and I don't know how that's going to look when he goes to the league, especially on a really bad team. It might be really ugly at first. I mean, Trey
I
Young was
think,
ugly first too, so
yeah, that's my example.
yeah,
Like, I think LaMelo Ball was just on a team where it was LaMelo Ball and others. So they just
yeah,
all focused on him.
that's
And he
true.
still
And
shot because he was like, he's a 17-year-old. He
he's
still
not
couldn't shoot his
playing,
shots, right?
and that's actually true. And a lot of the times for players who are playing in Europe or in other leagues, the knock on them is that they look good because they're playing against weaker defenders who are not athletes. But you could also say that his teammates, one of his best skills is getting the most out of his teammates, not playing with guys that are going to be as nearly as athletic as they are in the league, in the NBA, with the shooting and the skill that he's going to have around him, especially if he goes to a team like a lot of the teams at the top of the draft do have a lot of nice young players. Um, some of them maybe not so much like Cleveland, but
I would love him on this Cleveland Cavaliers team. I think him and Colin Sexton would be such a
yeah,
good backcourt because LaMelo is big enough to guard shooting guards, and
yeah.
Colin Sexton's big enough to guard
And
point
and
guards only.
Colin Sexton
Is a shooting guard,
is a
and
shooting guard,
LaMelo Ball is a
and
point guard.
LaMelo Ball
So
is a
it's
point. That's
perfect.
yeah. But then what happens to Garland? Do they just trade him? Anyway, yeah, we'll talk about that when we
Uh,
do our mock draft or something.
talk about that later, but
Yeah,
Colin Sexton can put 20 points easily
I
into
love Colin Sexton. Yeah,
every game. So I think having like a Colin Sexton, having Kevin Love spacing it, for example, is just so much opportunities for him to show. Like I could see LaMelo Ball averaging 7 assists like straight off
I mean Lonzo
rookie
Ball
season.
averaged almost 7 assists in his first year, so yeah,
Yeah, but that's
maybe
all he averaged, just 7 assists.
he averaged what? He averaged 7, 7, and 7. Those are all-star numbers.
I can see LaMelo having like 15 and 7, 15 points, 7 assists. Like
Hmm.
he has such a high floor, in my opinion, that like
So do you actually like
be
a
the
lot of
first
people
pick.
are saying that there's no easy superstar at the top of this draft. Do you actually think LaMelo is like on the level of some of the other guys that have been taken at number 1 in recent years?
No, no, I do not think he is anywhere near the other number one picks like Zion or whatever.
Yeah.
Like if he was in
He would have gone
this
number
year in
3.
last year's draft,
He would have gone number 3.
I wouldn't put him above RJ.
You
I'd put
wouldn't
him
put
at
him
four.
really?
I would put him at four. Yeah.
Really? Cuz I was honestly kind of expecting RJ to slide a little bit under DeAndre Hunter last year, but I don't
But it
know.
was RJ. It was RJ out of college, not RJ's first year. You got to remember that RJ
No,
out
I
of
know, I
college
know.
is
I
still
know.
considered a
But
star.
he had a lot of ugly games in March Madness last year, so I don't know. But yeah,
Yeah.
I agree with you, but